Okay, hello everyone. So this video is going to be the K-pop Secret Santa intro tag. I'll be participating in the Secret Santa again this year, which last year was my first year. This is my second year doing it. It's actually something that's really fun. I enjoyed it a lot last year. I'm excited to get a little bit more into it this year. But this year it is being run by The Rest is History 87 and Sonastoria. So I want to thank them for running this. I want to thank Emily for asking me to come back and participate again. Like I said, I really enjoyed doing this last year, so happy to do it again this year. But yeah, so this is just basically an introduction tag. There's just a few basic questions, so I guess with that said, I'll kind of get into it. The first question is, how long have you been making videos on YouTube? And what initially inspired you to start? So I've been making videos on YouTube for about 2 years now, just a little bit over 2 years. I posted my first video in September of 2017, so we just passed my second anniversary a couple weeks ago. But I guess what initially inspired me to start was I had started my collection Instagram in 2017, March of 2017, and my main goal there was, to share my collection, share pictures of it, and I guess keep it as a way to kind of keep track of my collection as well, a little bit in a way. And I had done that for a while. Like, Instagram is still one of the main ways I kind of share my collection. But I guess I kind of just wanted to start showing my collection in a different way, because I find, especially with YouTube, sharing my collection is a lot easier in a sense, because on Instagram you have to set everything up and you have to take pictures and stuff like that. And with YouTube, all I have to do is kind of set up my camera and talk and show my stuff. I don't really have to set it up to look nice or anything like that. So that was kind of what inspired me to start, is just to kind of show my collection and talk about it, because collecting is like one of my main hobbies. So sharing it and talking to other people about it was something I really wanted to do. Like, I still do share a good amount of my collection on like Instagram, but I don't post actual posts on there very often. I'm very active on my story, but I don't post a lot of just normal pictures to my feed, because like I said, it takes a lot of time to kind of set things up and take nice pictures. And I realized I could not really worry about the aesthetic or the theme of my feed on Instagram. But I don't know, I guess I do like to take the nicer pictures, but it just takes a lot more time. And I feel like I'm not able to, I guess, talk about the things in the way I want to, because typing things out isn't always necessarily as easy as just saying things physically. But with that said, there's also like the fair share of YouTubers that have been around for a long time that I've watched, like all of the unboxing channels you could probably think of. But yeah, I think YouTube in general is just a really good way to, one, share my collection, two, talk about the music and I guess everything else associated with K-pop. But yeah, so that's basically why I started. I'm actually really surprised I've kept up with it this long. Usually I'm not the type of person to stick to something like this for a long time, but the fact that I post, I guess, even pretty regularly is surprising to me even, so yeah. Anyways, moving on, question number 2 is, who is the group that got you into K-pop? So the first K-pop group I ever listened to was BTS. I listened to Boy in Love, I think is the song. Now that they have Boy in Love and Boy with Love, it confuses me, but it was Boy in Love. But yeah, so that was the first K-pop song, K-pop group I ever listened to. And I guess I kind of got a little bit more into BTS around that time. I got into K-pop in August of 2015, so it's been like 4 years. But I got into BTS a little bit. Like, I listened to their music a lot. I didn't really learn about the members or anything like that, just because I didn't really get much of a chance to get super into BTS before I got really into 17. So 17 is the group I kind of attribute to me actually getting really into K-pop. I have their debut album here, so this was the only thing of them that was out at the time that I got into 17. I got into 17, yeah, in August of 2015, so it was a couple months after their debut, only a month before their first comeback. And yeah, I loved this particular album, 17 Karat, to death. I loved that album so much, and I would listen to it on repeat 17 really is what got me interested in the whole genre, because I was around for their first comeback. Like I said, they released the album Boys Be. That was kind of a monumental moment for me because Boys Be is such a good album, and I still listen to that album like to this day. It's so good. And I feel like if it weren't for 17 releasing such good music that I liked and enjoyed, like if it weren't for that, I wouldn't have had the motivation to go out and look for different groups. And like I was really into 17 for a long time. A lot of you may know I don't really stan 17 as much as I used to. I guess I don't really stan them much at all, at least compared to how I used to, because they used to be my alt group. They were my alt group for 2 years. Yeah, I still hold a lot of appreciation for them, and I still think they release great music. I still think they're amazing performers. That aspect of it hasn't really changed. I just don't necessarily connect with them in the same way that I used to, and that's okay. We move on, it's all fine. But I guess that's not really the point. But like 17 were so new and fresh, and they were doing something new, at least to me, something I'd never really experienced before, because you know, before I was into K-pop, I was really into like rock music. And when I say rock music, I mean kind of like, I hate to categorize it as this because it's not really an accurate way of portraying it, but I guess screamo music in quotes. So like my favorite bands were Crown the Empire. Crown the Empire is still my favorite band to this day. I love them so much. And Dance Gavin Dance, they're still one of my favorites too, but so like I really liked Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens, Of Mice and Men. I really liked Issues back in the day, and I really liked like Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco. I really liked All Time Low, and you know, pop punk bands like State Champs and The Story So Far and stuff like that. So I was really into that whole genre, and so the whole, first of all, singing in Korean, even just listening to pop music in general, and you know, the whole dancing and singing at the same time was a lot different to me. Yeah, it was really interesting, and it was just overall really fun for me because I really enjoy the performance aspect of K-pop. So, and I guess 17 also really helped me get into a lot of other groups as well because, oh, I apologize for this lighting. But anyways, I really got into Up Tension around that time, and I really got into Twice around that time as well. I really got into a lot of 2015 debuts in general too, because 2015 obviously was the year that everything was kind of new to me, so I was getting into the newer groups as well. But yeah, that was a little long-winded, but that's kind of how I got into K-pop. So the next question is, who are your current favorite groups? So I have albums here to show you of my favorite groups. I'm not really going to go in any particular order as in like my ranking or anything, but I'll talk about each one a bit. So the first one I have here is Up Tension. So Up Tension, I've been a fan of them for a very long time. I got into them maybe a month after their debut, so I've been following them for a really long time. So they've held up really well in the past 4 years. So and then we have Twice. So Twice is actually, I considered them my alt girl group at one point, believe it or not. I don't know if many people know that. I feel like I've mentioned it before, but yeah, I used to consider them an alt. I've had a really rocky relationship with Twice ever since, I guess, maybe Twiceagram. No, I don't really know how to put it. But there was just a kind of a point with Twice where I wasn't really into them as much as I was before. And then just kind of recently with the release of Fancy, I really got back to that point with them. So like Fancy You, this album is so good, and the only thing that's been like missing its mark for Twice is just the music. Like sometimes their music is really good, and sometimes it just kind of falls flat for me, but this Fancy You album is like so good. And then the album they just released, Feel Special, is on a totally different level. It's my favorite album of theirs since their debut, so it's kind of insane. Like I love Twice so much, and even though my relationship with them has been a little bit rocky, it's okay. They still uphold their spot as like one of my favorite girl groups, kind of no matter like how I feel about them at any given time. So yeah. Okay, and then we have NCT. So I have the Empathy album here just to kind of represent NCT as a whole, so OT21. So I really like every single one of the NCT units ever since their debut. I've really liked them. I was convinced when they first debuted that I wouldn't like them very much just because at that point I wasn't really into SM boy groups, so I figured I wouldn't really get into them, but I guess that didn't really hold up because I consider them an alt now, so. But musically, NCT is so diverse, and it's a lot of what I love about them. They're also really great in like every other aspect of music, so yeah, I love them a lot. And then we have CLC, so I love CLC so much. Their music is so good. This album in particular, number 1, is literal gold. And then we have Daya, so yeah, Daya's music is so good. I love all of Daya's music. Like, a lot of their recent music too is also just really good. They have one of my favorite albums in K-pop overall, so. And then the last girl group is Brave Girls, so Brave Girls kind of ticks all the boxes for me when it comes to girl groups. I don't know really what it is. I have a lot of love for them. And then last but not least, I have Hotshot. So we all know Hotshot is my, well, we may not all know, but Hotshot is my ultimate group. If you follow me, I guess, anywhere, you'd know that Hotshot is my ultimate group. Yeah, there's not really much to say other than I love them, and Hotshot are my literal everything. Guess I'll quick mention, I'll mention some other groups that I really like just in passing, I guess. So I would consider Red Velvet another one of my favorites. I really like AB6 and New East, and I definitely really like Impact and a lot of groups that come out of Produce 101 Season 2, so a lot of like the 101 debuts and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all I really need to mention here. So the next part is the unboxing portion of this video. So the question here is, why did you choose to unbox this particular item and how does it represent your channel? So basically I chose this particular album to unbox because this is the era that I got into CLC, and it's kind of like a quintessential era for me. There was just something about this era in particular that, I don't know, kind of set CLC apart for me, and it's what made me love them. So this is one of my favorite CLC title tracks, and that's a fairly unpopular opinion, especially with some of the stuff that they've released this year in particular, because they've been releasing such good music these days. Ever since Black Dress. But this title track, there was just something about it that made me want to listen to it over and over again, and it was what made me really fall in love with Seunghee. So that's like why she's my ultimate female bias, is like her voice is so amazing, and this song was how I found out about it. So yeah, so it kind of represents my channel, you know, like in my channel name, ohseungheesgf. So obviously CLC is a big part of me, I guess. But I also wanted to pick this one because I don't talk about CLC nearly as much as I should. I owe them a lot. Like, generally, I owe them a lot because they've just been really great over the years, and they're my favorites for that reason, but I don't talk about them nearly enough, like, especially because they've only really released digital singles this year. Like, I haven't had the chance to buy their albums and talk about them, so this would be kind of considered my chance. But yeah, like, as much as I may not talk about CLC, there's not a day where I don't listen to their music and stuff like that. So yeah, these pictures are also really pretty, and since this album is out of print, I don't know, did I show that? It's not easy to find anymore, so yeah, there's that. There's something about this concept that I really loved too. I just thought it was really pretty. And I remember back in the day, I was really interested in watching CLC because Produce 101 Season 1 had just ended, and I liked Eunbin a lot, so I wanted to kind of keep up with her. So
yeah, when it comes down to it for me, I guess everything kind of falls back into line with Produce 101 somehow, but yeah. So with that said, moving on, you can kind of look at these things while I finish out this. The next question is, who are you tagged by? And I was tagged by Ashley, and her channel is Unagzor. That will be linked in the description. And so the last thing is, who are you tagging? And I'm going to be recommending a video from the person that I'm tagging. So I'm interjecting here with a bit of a voiceover. There's some technical difficulties, so we've kind of got to fix this here. So the person that I will be tagging is Ashley from Ashley Epidemic. So I was tagged by an Ashley, and I'll be tagging an Ashley. It's kind of funny. Her channel is really, really diverse. She has a lot of different content that she makes on her channel, and I think that is great. So she does a whole bunch of, unboxing videos, discussion videos, and she also does just, compilation videos. There's some fan cams on her account as well. So yeah, I think her channel is really fun, really interesting. Like I said, her channel is pretty diverse in the content that she uploads, so that's, again, really great. So I will leave the link to her channel in the description, and you can check her out there if you haven't. We will presume back to the normal video now. With that said, that was everything. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.